Alright, let's have another go at this. We're recording now with the fan on full tilt into my face. I'm just going to walk through a few markets and let's see what we can see. First up we have Euro dollar. Nice short opportunity earlier. I was here, I did look at it, chose to ignore it at my peril, but obviously I could have said that about other opportunities, but this one really did give a nice excursion outside, shall we say, of the mean. So we've had the ISM jobs report for manufacturing come out, positive I think it was for the US. I can double check that now. Bum, bum, bum. Initial jobless claims 232 versus expected 235, but still up on 227. 1955 down on expected. Okay, so it's not shaking the market too much. It's more or less in line with expectations and rising still, so good for the dollar. So this long here should be a potentially interesting candidate on my Dixie replica USD JPY dollar yen. I'd wait for confirmation though till it comes back and proves itself. I wouldn't just jump in there like that, although I'd be tempted. Same here, this short looks really nice. In fact, while we're at it, let's give this a whirl. Is that as far as it's going to want to go? It should be one of the areas. Let's try it. And let's just bring the stopping because I don't want to waste too much of my previous profit, which is likely now to probably happen. But yeah, using the underside, I mean it's not pinpoint, but using the underside of the previous low is a really nice method. And this is euro dollar, so it's quite steady away most of the time. I wouldn't expect too much volatility to flick up and then back down, but weirder things have happened, and you can see it's already happened all over the chart back here. So let's sit and see. Now the other thing to look at is the indices. So very choppy the last, what is that, 14 bars, 15 minutes. We're now breaking out to the downside, not a full breakout, got to go below here. This is the Dow and this is the NAS DAC, US 100 as they call it on the prop accounts. Here we go for the long. That could be interesting, but like I say, if I take this and this, then I'm kind of double exposed to the dollar. Obviously this is a dollar long trade, this is also a dollar long trade, but we're inadvertently going down anyway because the dollar is outmuscling the euro essentially. It's not always the case. There can be something else that's a determining factor. So like the dollar could be flat and the euro could still be going down because of something else like the pound or the yen may be muscling it elsewhere, but the dollar's the driver essentially in most of these cases. Gold has also just taken a turn downwards. Sorry, these charts are tiny. Let's just try and... I've reduced my screen size to 1080p to help clear this up for people who are watching on mobile. At the bottom here you're going to see crazy lines, indicator man back in action again. This is an aggregate of the gold price across different currencies like 7 or 8. So it's an index, same for the dollar. So any single move on this is not like an RSI where a single move will, you know, a single price on a single chart will affect it. It has to reflect across 7 or 8 charts to really have an impact. And so when they go to extremes, they want to revert in general. At least that's the plan. But of course you can have trends. So this is a very range-bound market here. We're between 330 and 320, sorry. So that's a $10 gap. On gold that's been ranging so far today, we've had opportunities. If you're willing to stomach the pick sort of your entry point, you stomach a little bit of drawdown up to 25 pips perhaps, you can get the other side of that 75, and here much less drawdown. That was a 100-point move. You get the picture. So this is the M3 chart. I do tend to drop down to M1 when it's trending, so I can try and catch the pullbacks like this would have been perhaps one, not quite. It's not been super clean. Or I'd just, because I'm trying to pass this prop challenge, I'd literally just be going for 10 pip, 20 pip moves with a little bit more risk on, because I'm just trying to push this through. So yeah, that's the M1 and the M3 on gold. Then we have the indices we were looking at. I still wouldn't touch this with a barge pole, to be honest, just now. Still a bit experimental with the indicators, doing the same on the indices. We've got some pullbacks picked out here, which would have been nice to ride. I've got a bunch of settings to tune this. I've just put it on quite loose so I can see as many as possible, and that's why I dropped down the time frames as well, so I get more data processed essentially, so I can see these pullbacks. This is commission free, so this is really profitable to trade. There is a slightly wider spread than you might want, but yeah, if you're shooting for these slightly larger moves, then the spread's kind of negligible. How are we doing on the euro? Okay, we're in profit. 0.06% profit. I mean, it's not what do you call it, world changing, but life changing, but yeah, that should kind of pan out. So what we've got going on here, let me just explain what also is going on. If I put my R indicator up, I've got a hotkey thing, I press shift and this comes up, pre-programmed to replicate R. Not quite on the stop loss there, but yeah, close enough. So we're over 1R now, we're chasing down to 2R, could revert before then. I've got this guy up here, this EA is applied, that kind of slams in an ATR based stop loss for me, which I normally just narrow down anyway. And then I've got this technique for it getting out of a trade, kind of similar to maybe how a human would. So it's not a basic trail. Oh, nice. A basic trail would obviously stop me out completely if it came back to 1R, for instance, if it was trailing by 1R. It's gone to 2 now, so when it comes back to 1R, it's going to take off, for every bar, it's going to take off 20% of the volume. For every bar it's below, it's not actually for every bar, it's for every interval. I've set a fixed interval on the way back, so it won't take you all the way out of the trade. You might lose a few points of your lot size, like a 20% of your lot size, but then if it storms away, you carry on with most of your size, but it de-risks you as it works backwards. So if it gets to 3, then the stop moves up to 2, or the virtual stop, and it starts to partially offload. So I call it like the high watermark trail. It's something I think I haven't seen elsewhere before. I basically developed it to emulate how I would ideally like to take size off, especially if I had a bot. Oh yeah, straight away the reaction to the long side. Are we going to make new lows? I don't know. I'm not really relying on this trade for anything too much. I'm very early stages on this account. If we could, yeah, I maybe should have put more risk on this idea I mentioned earlier of like 10-20 trade pips with higher risk. Might be the way forward, because I can just grab these with a higher win rate in these pullback situations, and I could be done with this prop challenge before too long. In the past, just whenever I've done these things, it's always taken me months of just like being scared, not being sure whether to enter. I'm over that kind of stuff now. I can just jump in and trade, but size-wise, I've probably still got some blocking going on, so that's to be solved as well. Right. Potential turning point on pound dollar yen, which would be interesting. That would then scupper the euro dollar trade. I like to kind of keep them all open together. Sometimes I get faked out, like this will pull back and I'll be like, oh, okay, so dollar's on the turn, let me close this trade, and then this will keep running. But generally it has kept me on the right side of risk until now. Look, that's 2R, so ideally I should probably just take that. Some people would move the stop to break even and see what happens. 2R statistically does get you where you want to be quite quickly though. I mean 3R will get me there even quicker, it's just bursting through now. Gold would have been much more profitable, but gold's a bit of a beast. It'll whip around and do whatever the heck it wants. The Dow is actually being more volatile, have I got that right? Yeah, than the Nas for some reason right now. Nasdaq just wants to be bearish. Dow is taking a turn upwards, so unless that's going to be a spectacular turn and drop, which could be an interesting trade. I don't know what the wider picture is on this. Oh yeah, okay, so look, this is where I could potentially get faked out. The yen's decided it doesn't want to go very easily higher. It's being manipulated by the Bank of Japan, who knows, but it doesn't want to take itself to a new high just now. And that's dollar buying essentially going to come back in. We'll find that out in a minute. Oh, okay, so we got to 3R. Here's an example of that, the bot taking some trade off, and it came back to 2R after this spike down to 3, and it just lifted a piece off. So I think I was at, what was I at? Yeah, it took 0.2 off out of one lot, essentially. €10, $10 in the bank. You know, you don't get, if I'd have just closed at 3R, I would have obviously had a better result. So if it's going in your direction, you can come off worse, but as long as it doesn't go backwards. But that's the thing, it does go backwards most of the time, so I'm covering my downside all the time, and just if there's an upside, I just get the benefit, like the full benefit, but very rarely does it go straight to target, obviously. So I just manage it throughout, and by the time it's chopped itself about and left me with a tiny piece, I can either re-enter or add another position. Let's take this off at 3R for now. That's probably got legs, that's going to go, but you know, I'm just here to, yeah, straight away. So typical. This is all I want, this is what I want to do. I want to get, that was 7 points. Yeah. Let's not watch it too much. You know this feeling, guys, if you trade yourselves. We've all been here. But yeah, there goes the yen again, pushing through to new highs. So this is what I like to do, compare the currencies across the board pretty much, see what's moving. I've got a representative view. I'm just deciding between Dow and Nas which one I keep open. To be honest, I love the way the Nas like reacts with the volatility it has, but the Dow's just a steadier beast, it seems, most of the time. I'll decide between those, but basically I've got a complete market overview. So this is representative of all the majors, euro dollar, more or less. Gold, I just like gold for similar reasons to Nasdaq, and yeah, UJ is kind of my Dixie, my like weather bell for the dollar. So, oh yeah, 4R we're going towards now. You know, yeah, I could have left the bot to just manage that position completely, and many times I've said, why didn't I just leave it on, because obviously it jumped. But we are here to make a profit, and nobody ever got fired for making a profit, unless they took 1 million small profits. Oh yeah, go to 5R, why don't you? But as I say, position is now closed, so none of this benefit comes to me. Time is 10 to 3 hour time, so the US market's been open for 20 minutes. This could be reinforcing the trend for the day, in which case I should get another pullback situation, maybe up to around here in the next hour or so, I guess. Alright, let's leave it there. Thanks for watching. This has been a live trade example. I actually just set this up as a test for my webcam versus other cam, to see what the quality was like and see how this would play out. So it's really just an example. I've got loads of videos in the pipeline to come out. Oh yeah, there goes 5R. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.